This little damage right here on this edge is what we're repairing today. We've got a few little spider cracks here we're going to take care of, and then we're just going to blend this in. Just going to spot this part in and blend the clear coat. So this might help you out if you're just repairing minor damage on your vehicle, because this is about as minor as it gets. We're going to use a little bit of UV filler in here to build up that edge, because it's kind of flattened that edge a little bit with that scratch. So he'll sand this with 320. We'll build this up right here, block sand that smooth, and then get this section ready to paint and blend.
So Darius is going to start out by using the orbital sander. This is just a sander that oscillates, so it moves in all different directions. It's called an orbital sander. He's using a little bit of 320 grit sandpaper on this to machine sand out those cracks in the paint. We'll get it ready for some primer and some sealer. Now, you could do this by hand. It's going to take a little bit more time, so it's a little bit easier to use the orbital sander. Now he'll clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol. He just wants to evaluate it, see if he's got all those spider cracks out. And now what he's doing, he's going to go over the blend area, and this is where we're just prepping out the clear for the blend of the paint and the clear coat. He's using 600 grit sandpaper on the orbital sander. The reason we use 600 grit sandpaper is it's a coarse enough scratch. It's going to allow that new clear coat to bite into the old clear and adhere properly, but it's not such a deep scratch that's going to allow scratches to show through the new clear coat. So he's going to try and stay away from all the edges. He doesn't want to burn through any of these edges. Now what he's doing, he's going to take a little bit of 180 grit sandpaper so he has a little bit deeper scratch, and he's going to prep out that area for a little bit of filler. So Darius will clean it once again with some isopropyl alcohol, remove all that dust before he applies some UV spot putty. Okay, so now Darius is going to back tape this repair area just so he can be real precise with where he puts that UV spot putty. This is the UV spot putty we're going to use. This is a Colad UV spot putty. It's a pretty good product. I like the way it dries. It does not shrink when it cures, so you don't have to worry about any shrinking with this product. Now you will need to use this flashlight. This is a UV flashlight. Both of these are pretty inexpensive. You can pick both of these up for under $50, and if you're interested, I will leave links in the description. Darius is now going to sand it smooth, sand out those hard edges. He's using 320 grit sandpaper, cleaning up the edges, and it'll be ready for some sealer.
Okay, so there's the repair. Now we just need to put a little bit of primer on this. You went up here with 600?
Yeah, hit this all 600 right. And
right here's 320. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we'll put a little bit of sealer right here, and then we'll paint this area here. We need to scuff this edge. We're going to put foam tape right on this body line, and then we'll have a soft edge of clear there, and we're going to blend the clear right there. We'll wash that in.
So all that shiny paint on the edges needs to be sanded with this gray scuff pad or a 600 grit foam pad. So he's going to use that to get all those sanded really well so they have good adhesion of the clear coat, especially that body line. We need to sand over that body line just a little bit so that clear adheres properly and doesn't peel back. And then we're going to wash that area in, and I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, now it's time to mask it off for paint. So Darius is going to go ahead and mask off a hard edge underneath where that trim goes. And then on that body line, he's going to put a piece of foam tape on that body line so the clear will create a soft edge there. And then we'll just loop some paper. We're going to blend it on the edge there, and I'll show you how we do that. So right here, he's laying down the foam tape. So Darius is going to mask this off, but that area that we're repairing is so minor, we're just going to use a little bit of sealer. Rather than use primer where we have to sand it again, we're just going to seal it really well, and then we'll be able to apply our paint right over top of that sealer.
Okay, so we've got the Inokraft Drizzle D1. We've got our base coat in here, or this is our ground coat. So basically this color has a ground coat, a mid coat pearl, and then we put a clear coat over top of it. So we're just going to cover our primer areas. We'll blend it out just a little bit. We'll cover our primer. That'll give us a little bit of a blend, and then we'll put our mid coat pearl on it. I've got the fan pattern narrowed down, and the air pressure is about 12 psi.
Okay, so now we're done with the ground coat, and I didn't really have to blend that ground coat out too much. I just basically covered that primer, let the overspray blend it out, and now we're ready for the mid coat pearl. Now we'll go about 1 inch to 2 inches past where the ground coat ended to blend out that mid coat pearl, and then we'll apply our clear coat. We'll probably do 2 coats of this mid coat pearl.
We'll let that sit. We'll put another coat on there. And then we'll be ready for some clear coat. All right, one more coat of the pearl. And there's our final coat of pearl. Now we're going to let this flash off. We'll put some clear coat on it. Apply some clear coat. We're going to blend this area in. We're going to wash this in with that upol number 9. Okay, so for clear coat, I've got the fan pattern wide open, 2 turns out on the fluid volume, air pressure. I'm going to set it up at about 25 psi probably. Okay, we'll let that flash off. We are going to have to cut and buff this just a little bit because there are some particles of dust. We'll bury them in one more coat of clear, and then we'll let this dry and then cut and buff it. Okay, one more coat of clear. All right, now we want to immediately wash this in right here. This is where that blend is. So I'm going to pull this, if I can pull this. All right, got our upol number 9. We're just going to wash this in. This isn't going to hurt that paint there. Ooh, I'm almost out. All right. So see, we washed that little blend in right there. Now that'll just evaporate. That'll cure. Then we'll just polish that a little bit, and a little bit of cut and buff right there. We got a few little particles of dust. We'll put this thing back together, and this will be done.
To learn more about blending clear coat on small repairs, check out this video now. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time on Garage Noise.